Magnificent viewers, welcome to the concluding episode of Water, a precious resource for life on Earth. In part 1, we learned that water scarcity is already a global problem, with 1.1 billion people lacking access to clean water. We also learned that water scarcity is directly linked to climate change. As global temperatures rise, so does the risk of worldwide water shortages. On today's program, we'll examine one of the gravest concerns in this regard, the melting of the Himalayan glaciers. Harboring some 600 billion tons of ice, the Himalayan glaciers are crucial for life in numerous parts of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Pakistan, India, Myanmar, and China. These immense glaciers are the source for many major rivers and supply more than 800 million people with water for irrigation, hydropower, and drinking. However, as temperatures increase, the glacial ice is rapidly disappearing. In a recent study, scientists examined satellite observations of the Himalayan glaciers conducted over a 40-year period. Their report, published in the journal Science Advances, shows that the glaciers have been retreating rapidly since 2000 due to an average 1 degree Celsius temperature rise in the region. Regarding this finding, lead author Joshua Mora, PhD candidate at Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory, says, "This is one of the clearest pictures that we've seen yet of how fast Himalayan glaciers are losing ice." Researchers estimate that over 4 decades, the glaciers have lost 25% of their mass. The people of India are deeply concerned about the looming threat of water scarcity. Sadhguru, a world-renowned spiritual teacher and visionary named one of India's 50 most influential people, shared his concerns with the United Nations.
As we have seen in India, many villages are completely empty now. People have moved away from the village because there's no water anywhere. Whole villages are gone. So this essentially means as water crisis progresses, more and more people will try to migrate to the city. If too many people migrate to the city where there is necessary infrastructure is missing, we are looking at very severe civil strife. We really fear what kind of civil strife can happen in the next 20 to 25 years in a country like India unless we take corrective action today.
What immediate action must be taken to avert global water scarcity? To address the problem of fresh water shortages, we must first and foremost halt climate change. According to many scientific reports, including several from the United Nations, the primary cause of climate change is raising livestock, which creates more greenhouse gases than all forms of transportation combined. It is also the leading cause of deforestation, water pollution, and environmental degradation. Interestingly, raising livestock also contributes directly to water scarcity. Globally, approximately 70% of all the fresh water used today is consumed by agriculture. However, many of the crops grown are not being fed to humans, but instead to livestock. Almost 40% of the world's grain and 80% of the world's soybeans are fed to animals raised for so-called food. The quantity of water required to raise livestock is staggering. Researchers estimate that approximately 20,000 liters of water are needed to produce 1 kilogram of beef. You can save more water by not eating a pound of hamburger meat than you can by not showering for 6 months. In addition, raising livestock is a highly inefficient way to produce food. For example, it takes 100 calories of grain to produce only 3 calories worth of beef. Raising livestock also creates water pollution. With more than 70 billion farm animals raised around the world each year, vast amounts of excrement are washed into waterways. And the fertilizers, pesticides, and other chemicals applied to the crops that are fed to these animals also washes into our streams, rivers, and oceans. This pollution further reduces the Earth's supply of potable fresh water. So what's the best way to preserve our precious water resources? According to scientists, we can drastically reduce our water footprint by adopting a vegan lifestyle. While a meat diet requires 4,000 gallons or 15,140 liters of water per day, a vegan diet requires only 300 gallons or 1,135 liters. Thus, by choosing a plant-based lifestyle, we can reduce our water footprint by more than 90%. And today, many delicious plant-based alternatives to meat are entering the market. Vegan hamburgers, vegan eggs, vegan milk, vegan fish, and a host of other products are now readily available. Creating these meat alternatives uses Earth's resources much more efficiently than producing animals for meat. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, plant-based burgers require between 75 to 99% less water, 93 to 95% less land, and generate up to 90% fewer emissions than regular beef burgers. Supreme Master Ching Hai often reminds us that the organic vegan lifestyle is the best way to feed our growing population while saving precious resources.
The Twente Water Center in the Netherlands have found that the most efficient way to grow protein, calories, and fats is through a plant-based diet. To grow 1 gram of protein, we need up to 6 times more water for animal protein than for plant-based protein. It is the same with calories. It takes 20 times more water to grow calories from beef than to grow it from grains or potatoes. So to feed more people with less water, the best way is to be vegan, and organic vegan to be exact.
Compassionate viewers, please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television while we take a moment to pray for World Vegan. We'll be right back after this message. Conscientious viewers, welcome back to our program as we continue to learn more about preserving water, one of our most precious resources. Supreme Master Ching Hai frequently warns us about the grave dangers of water scarcity. She reminds us that the fastest, most efficient way to preserve water is through the compassionate noble, resource-saving, organic vegan lifestyle.
As drought and water crises are spreading silently across the globe, affecting 44% of the world's population, even triggering conflicts in some areas, the livestock industry is guzzling much of our precious fresh water. Livestock feed crop production alone takes up 1/3 of all arable land on the globe, most of which requires irrigation. So in reality, 4,500 liters of clean water goes down the drain for just one serving of beef. In contrast, only 370 liters of water are needed to produce one complete vegan meal, with plenty of calories and nutrients from rice, vegetables, and soy protein. So a massive package of resources goes into producing meat, namely water, fertilizer, clear land, chopped down forests, fossil fuel energy, and grain soy that are fed to the animals. This is even more staggering than when we consider the epic pollution levels inflicted by animal production on our water resources, such as, islands on rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Your country's Environmental Protection Agency reported that one of the top contributors to water pollution is agriculture runoff, which is the discharge of nitrogen and phosphorus, a huge portion of nitrates, for example, comes from animal manure. In fact, the agency further expressed concern because of the presence of the highly deadly E. coli bacteria in the groundwater due to, agricultural runoff. E. coli is always originally from an animal source and is found in livestock fecal material, which can also be distributed through waterways to contaminate plant-based food even. The large scale of this health risk can be seen if we consider the fact that livestock produces 130 times more waste than humans. You see, so as pigs produce 3 times as much excrement as humans do, the 1.8 million pigs in your country, Ireland, generate more waste than the whole country's entire population of 4.2 million. This is not to mention the 21 times of human waste that each cow produces, and the huge amount from poultry that over 70 million birds produce. As the land cannot absorb it all, much of the excess runs into our rivers and soil. We are talking about a horrific amount of toxic material that poses an appalling set of problems, including poisonous gases like hydrogen sulfide and ammonia, residues of pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, and bacteria like E. coli that could and do cause food poisoning and also death. Cities worldwide, including Dublin, in your country, are already struggling with water shortages. Livestock production is hazardously wasting and polluting any remaining water supply. If we really want to conserve our clean, safe water for ourselves and our children, we must stop livestock production and adopt a plant-based diet.
Many thanks, Supreme Master Ching Hai, for reminding us that by simply replacing meat, dairy products, and eggs with plant-based foods, we can help to preserve the world's precious water supply while simultaneously halting climate change. May we soon live in a peaceful, abundant vegan world. Caring viewers, thank you for your company today.